All right, Pete, here we go. This is going to be a little bit different today because I am not on my normal web camera. I am actually on the Canon 5D Mark IV, and I'm using it as a webcam today. And remember, I have said that you want to test everything, and so I'm doing a little test today because I may have another webcam thing I'm doing here very soon, and I wanted to test the battery on this and other options. Just got to make sure it all works before you actually go into production. Anyway, all right, let's do this. We got to get you fired up here. Pete, I have not even had a chance to look at the photos. The last 2 days, I have just been incredibly busy with just working. A lot of video work, a lot of stuff. Why are you not coming up? Oh, now I got to find you. Where'd you go? Bear with me on this one. That's no good. We're at John. No, it's under not the Lacey laptop. Where's the stupid hard drive? Not Dropbox. You know, usually it just pops up, which is why I don't have a issue here. But there we go. This PC, it's under Archive, under Dropbox, and then we'll scroll down to Pete. There we go, Pete Photos. All right. What'd you send me? I hope this is it. This looks different. Hey. Okay. Hopefully by now you have downloaded Digital Photo Professional. That is what we're using here. So I highlight all the clips that are in the bin. We're going to get edit image. And let's take a look at what we got here. Got an old woman smoking a joint. No. Okay. Looks pretty sharp. 200th, 2.8. All good. Come on. And she's not, yeah, okay. So I think you made a comment in there. You got to make it faster because she was moving. And you know what, Pete? It's not just her, it's you. You're moving. There is no sharp focus on this whole image. As opposed to, you go to this one, bang. You got focus. So you're incorrect. It is actually you, not her. Yeah, because I assume she's moving here. You'll be all right. But yeah, that picture's sharp. That picture has a little bit of handheld movement. A little bit. All right. Ooh, look at this. Ooh, I love how the light just falls right on this part right here. Great. Holy moly. What is this? Yeah. Is this a raw image? Oh, you're sending me JPEGs. And it's not giving me the metadata. Oh, there it is right there. Never mind. Okay, so 500 1/1000th of a second. All right, so you opened. I see what you're doing. You're stopping down. Okay, compensating, stopping down. The f-stop. Yeah, look at this. We're going to 5.6. Have a look at this. This is very interesting, Pete. Okay. 3.5. Let's go to 4.5. All right. cool. I love what you did here. This is great because this really shows you a good example of, you know, what your focus is. Can I lift that a little bit? Oh, it's not letting me do anything to this. Brightness. What do you mean? Nah, see, this is why I like messing with raw photos rather than JPEGs. All right. You know what? This is a great example, P. I'm not even worried about the exposure so much as what you're doing is you're demonstrating the differences with that particular lens of the difference in f-stops and how by stopping it down you get just a little bit greater depth of field. This 5.6 is fantastic. Yeah, see, look at this. You've got a 4.5 and look at 5.6. And it could be where you hit the focus on this. What I want you to do is have a look at this pedal right here, this part of the pedal. And now let's go back to the one where it's 4.5. Look at that. It's out of focus now. But this is in focus. To me, and again, this is all subjective. To me, I'm telling you, I like the 5.6 image better. The exposure's pretty right on the money. It might be just a fraction underexposed just by looking at the tonality of the green. But look, this is one of those things that you can fix that in post, no problem. Yeah, this is my favorite. Let's look at a 2.8. Yeah, see, it's almost just a little bit too shallow because this part right here, the stem is not in focus. And you got a little bit, there's just much more interesting detail in this 5.6 one. That almost seems like, at least in this particular application where you're shooting just one singular object like that, it seems to me like 5.6 is a good sweet spot for this. And just the way everything falls around it and the focus falls off of it beyond it is just fantastic. Great shot, really good. Yeah. Let's look at this one. Okay, so I see what you did. You opened up the exposure on this one a little bit to the other 5.6. Yeah, 1600, 800, 4. What'd you do? This is 5.6, 1000. Oh, okay. I still think the exposure on this is better. This one is just a little bit over to my eye. It's good. You haven't lost any detail. Golly, it's a good shot, man. Neat flower too. Yeah, you know, it's so subtle, Pete, just to my eye though. It seems like, yeah, in that 4.5, 5.6 range, either one of those, I still lean towards the 5.6. This one, 8.0, to me, what ends up happening is have a look at this part of the green right here, the grass. It almost seems like it's a little bit too much in focus there. Where remember, your eye is always drawn to things that are in focus. So what'll happen is, because that's in focus, my eye wants to just kind of navigate towards it. Whereas, let's say you go to that, it's just less. It's so subtle, Pete. Yeah. All right, let's move on. I could be there forever. Oh, look at this. Bang. Focus. Look at that. On the money. 400th of a second. Great. 8.0. That's enough. And look at that. Even at 8.0, look at everything beyond it. Because you're shooting a 200 mil, even beyond it, you start to get that focus roll off. So with 8.0, you've probably got probably a good 3 feet or so of focus front and back with whatever you're in focus on. Yeah, bang. Immediately I can see that you're on focus on this. Yeah, good exposure. Great. Okay. Not much to say, man. Um, yeah, you are overexposed. And how do I know that? Because if you take a look right here, Pete, all your detail. This is what I'm looking at when I see all this kind of stuff. I'm looking. My eye goes immediately to the highlights in all of this, and all your detail right here is gone. Well, it's not gone. It's there, but it's just it's washed out. Whereas within that part of the petal, uh, I know there's a lot more detail in there. So you probably are about at least 2/3 overexposed, maybe a full stop overexposed. Cool though. Look at that. Even at 8.0, everything beyond is blown out, which is great. But there's enough within that shot right there. If you shot this much shallower with the aperture open, I think you would have lost the. You wouldn't know exactly. Well, the subject matter is that whole blotch of flour that's right there. Yeah. All right. Let's keep moving on. Overexposed. But you're in focus. Bang. Look at that. That's cool. Let's go in a little zoom. I never do 400%. Yeah. That's all right. What are you shooting? 2.8. Okay. Even at 2.8, you got it. Yeah. Good. Okay. Let's keep moving. Yep, you're in focus. No problem. Yeah, you're in focus. Ooh, but you know what? Oh, I wonder if the wind was whipping a little bit because this, you just got a little bit of blur on the foliage behind it. That's all right. What is this? Okay. Right exposure. And here you go. You can see all the detail within that. Even in that, the lighter areas, detail and color is still there. It's not washed out. Bang. And that's not too dark. That is not dark at all. Again, this is something you can fix in post. Always keep this in mind with digital cameras. And you know what? This was one of those things that when even I did not understand this when I first started shooting with digital cameras is, you know, it's just like digital recording with audio. I mean, if you peak, unlike analog, if you peak and you clip the audio is gone. You can't fix it. Same thing with photos. If you are overexposed and everything just starts peaking in the white areas, you've lost your highlight detail and it's gone. You will never recover that. And again, you know, some of the better cameras have what they call a very wide exposure latitude. So that means a camera will capture the really dark darks and the really light lights and be able to still compress it within a color space. And so certain cameras are better than others. Canon is okay. They were hovering around 10 stops, 10 to 11 stops of dynamic range. I know that's really not a lot in the grand scheme of things. They've gotten better. I think they're up to like 12 or 13 stops with still frame cameras now. My Red camera is 16 and a half stops, and that's one of the things that is one of the kind of the claim to fame of these cameras and what I want in a camera, because at least You know, I'm always trying to capture as much of the information as I possibly can to be able to play with it afterwards. Um, Again, it's money, and that's all it is. You know, it costs more, you get better imagery. Yeah, there's a whole science and art behind it. Anyway, I gotta keep moving. I'm gonna be here forever, Pete. All right, focus is off. Man, and you know what's more important too? And this to me is just kind of like a shot. Your background. It would be okay if the tree wasn't behind it. The wires would actually, against the blue sky, could be kind of an interesting shot, but the green, it just breaks it up and you're like, ah, what the heck is my subject? Okay, yep, same. Are you on focus? Nope. Nope, you're not. All right. Ooh. Why'd you frame it that way, though? I'm going to assume because you had that windowsill behind it. Well, here's the thing about this. Here's what you did to right. I love the lighting. Look at how the lighting, it's backlit, it falls on it that way. If you had an issue with the windowsill, you know what I would have done? I'm going to assume this is in like a little clay pot or something like that. Elevate your clay pot, put it on some books or something like that so that you can lower yourself because you're at the right angle with that. But now imagine if the top of this was up here. It's okay that you've got the negative space on the side. If you've got this right here, up here, and you're catching just the base, like from here, boop, like that, of, let's say, that brown, reddish type pot on the bottom. You don't have to get the bottom of it, just maybe that top little lip thing. That would have made an interesting composition. Cool. 1600. Yeah, that's all right. I can see it in that, but that's all right. Yeah, 5.6. That's a good aperture. 200th. Yep. Look, man. As far as technical stuff about this, I really can't fault this. You know, I like the exposure is good. It's just the composition. Which again, you're going to start, once you start getting this technical stuff down, you're going to move more into the compositional type thing. And again, there's your sill. Okay. Again, the composition, this whole thing behind me is just distracting. But aside from that, I would say the exposure is good for the subject. But yeah, I don't know what your background is here. I would have done that on that. So, okay. Ooh, look at this. Much better. Much more interesting shot. And you know what? You know what I see in this more than anything? And I think even more so than the other ones. Yeah, see, this one doesn't work for me so much. Well, first off, you're blown out here. Your exposure is correct for the face, but it's the window, obviously. If you could have pulled down the shade a little bit or just something just to block this out, just a pinch, waited towards later in the day, that would have helped this shot tremendously. But that's all right. That's all right. You know what? I like this shot better than any of these because the eyes right here. Look at this. If I can zoom. There we go. Have a look at that. This is fantastic. Eyes looking right at you. I'm not going to worry about you being blown out there. But that to me is what is engaging. Like think about this, Pete. When you talk to somebody and you are a normal human being, you look someone in the eye. I mean, that's just it. You look them in the eye. So this to me, it's just there's a connection when I see a picture like this. However, you know what to me could have made this a little bit more of an engaging picture is what if she was looking down here, down in the corner? I mean, that to me would, and again, I'm getting into just very creative, a very creative place with this. But it's kind of like, well, what if she was looking down? I would be looking at that saying, well, gee, I wonder what she's looking at. Or I wonder what she's thinking. Um, Again, it's a subtle little thing, Pete. But yeah, beyond that, technically, yeah, 5'6", 5'6", which is why, again, her whole face is in focus. You could have even shot a 4.0, and what you might have gotten is just a little bit more blur just by the ear, and that's acceptable. But how you frame this, all of that is in focus. Look, it's good. This is really good, man. Yeah, I nothing much more to say. Underexposed, but you know that. Always exposed for your subject. Yeah, we just looked at that one. All right, let's go look at this. Yep, exposure's pretty good, especially on this side of the face. The problem is you've just, oh man, if you could just get like lower the light by like a full stop, and there are blockers that you can put in the way to make that kind of thing happen. I won't even go into that. Good. Yeah. And it's tough to. I'm gonna really nitpick this one, Pete. She's got dark hair, so what's happening here is that when you look at this, uh, where's the shape of her head? So again, our eyes. The second thing our eyes are drawn to is contrast. So if you've got a dark against a dark, we can't really differentiate what the heck is going on here. Good for the face, that's fine. But if we had a little, if you placed her, and I'm being really nitpicky, but these are the things I always look for, man. If you moved her or yourself a little bit so that that lighter area here was around the back side of her hair, I would have definitely seen more of just the shape of her head. I dig the framing. This is great. You're obviously picking up the stuff that I talked about. But again, I'm just nitpicking on stuff. Okay, now we're coming into, okay. Here we go. Cool. Exposure's on the money, and this is what I'm talking about. Look at this. We can see the frame of the head. The exposure's still good. White, let me tell you, shooting against white is always very difficult. If you look at the white here, have a look in the top corner right here. This is your histogram, and this is why I'm telling you is that you got to start learning this stuff. But see where that peak is? That peak is from the white of the shirt right here, okay? But look at where 255 is. You're not past the line. If this thing blew out all the highlight detail, it'd be smushed right up against that 255. You wouldn't even see all this. I still see enough detail in that, and that's great. Exposure on this is right on the money. Just look at the skin tones. It's great. Where I criticize this is I would have framed it differently. And this is just me. I get it that you want a little bit of symmetry, but I would have done this a little bit tighter, just like that. To me, that is, to me, a more interesting picture. I'm nitpicking. It's subjective. I get it. But that to me, it captures still all the bits with the background. And look at this too. This is the other side of it too, is your background is just slightly darker than the subject, which is great. And that's one of the things. As soon as I'm looking at these pictures right here, fantastic. Fantastic. Look at this, on focus. Obviously you made her laugh, which is great. Look at the eye. Unbelievable, the detail on that. And you shot it at 4.5. Great. You're learning. All right. Let's see. I'm just checking something. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Good. Love how you framed it. You kept the chin in too, which is good. Yeah, just more of the same. Look at this too. Have a look at this. This again, I'm trying to point out things you did right on this because I'm having a hard time faulting much of this at all. Look at the way the light is just kind of cast a little shadow here, nice and soft. The skin tone is right. Look, this is just fantastic. And this is just one of those things. Once you get someone, so this is what I do is when I realize the lighting is right, the technical side of it is right, I've got the right background and all this kind of stuff. Then when I have all of that right, Pete, then I just start working on making sure I'm capturing the moment. This is what you've set up here that's so right in this. So, okay, so here's where I am going to fault you. Because you listened to me, but then you got locked in a box. Because, okay, you got the shot that I said, go get. I'm really nitpicking, Pete. You got the shot that I said, go get. And it's fantastic. You've nailed the focus on this. I'm jealous. I want this lens now. Then I would have gotten creative and I would have zoomed out or zoomed partially out or something like that. Where are you at? You're at 200 mil for the whole thing. And you know what? You hold down the button or do a series and you're trying to catch just that right expression, that right moment. Hopefully you got it within all of that. You make her laugh, you look down, you just it's that's how it's done. You get all of this bit right, and then you work on your subject and get them to do what they need to do in all of this. There you go. What the heck is this? Kind of cool. All right. Let me go back to this and make sure. 4 or 5. Yeah, this is great, Pete. Yeah, look, hair detail. You got it all. Perfect. Brilliant. Fantastic. Okay. I like what you did here. I even like the framing of this. I kind of would have liked to see a little more of the hat, but that's just me. Good expression. All right. I'm sure you wrote something in the comments about this. Yeah. All right. Got a little muddy. All right. We'll talk more about car photos later. All right. Now, you had it right here. Because obviously, I don't know, if a cloud was in the way or something was diffusing, it just scattered the light so it fell nicely on the face. But then you go to this and I can tell she's got direct sunlight because the sun was right at the edge of setting. But bam, focus. Fantastic. And that's an interesting shot too. That is kind of cool. Number 1 Biden. He's awesome. Okay. You are a hair overexposed on this. Again, how do I know? Because it should be green, not washed out green. $1,600, 70 mil. Okay, 70 mil. Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah, 3.5. Again, I look at this and I'm being, critical. Subjectively, I don't know what I'm supposed to be focusing on other than maybe this, but to me that's kind of boring. But that's all right. Just note that you are overexposed. That's why you shoot raw. This is cool. Okay. Yeah, see the white against the black? That's good, good contrast, the color. You know what? I'm just having a play here. What if you went in tighter? Because what's pulling my eye is this guy right here and this little leaf right here. What's interesting to me is that. So what if you did that? All right. Yeah, good. If I'd maybe brighten it up just a pinch, but yeah. All right, I'm gonna keep moving. This is kind of cool. You're obviously getting a lens flare in the lens, which is why she's a bit washed out. You know what I do like about this more than anything is her expression. It's cool. You almost look just a fraction of a blur. I don't know why. I don't think it's handheld. Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah, you hit focus on the nose. That's what it is. So by the time, and you're at 3.5, had you shot this at 5.6, you would have had it. So what was happening was, look at this, you've got sharp focus right on the nose right here, and by the time you get to the eyes, and I know it's so minor, but look at this, it's just not as sharp as, you can see the pores here. And consider all the other shots that we saw with her eyes. And if you shot it at 5.6, you wouldn't have gotten as much of the flaring within the lens. That's very typical when you shoot wide open, as you get light flares. In fact, it was funny back in the day when I used to shoot with the cars. Always shot 2.8, but granted I was shooting with film and stuff like that. And I'm backlit. So imagine this, I'm shooting down, the car's here and the sun is over here. So often what would happen is that light would come right on in and flare my camera or flare the lens, and I couldn't get the shot because I was shooting 2.8. So what I would have someone do is I'd literally position a person to block the sun to make sure the flare didn't hit the front of the lens, and then I got the shot. That's how I did that. So keep that in mind. And what you might even want to do, again, you need the grip for this. What I've done before in the past too is I'll hold with one hand, and then I'll take my other hand and stick my fingers out at the end of the barrel of the lens, trying to block the flare in the lens. See, it's cool that you got the backlight right there, but what's happening is it's the light is scattering within the lens, and then your contrast is gone. You can't recover it. You can't get it to be where, you know, if that flare wasn't in there. So what I would have done is, yeah, I mean, you know, you're holding it at the end here, and you're just trying to block the, you know, the lens just with your fingers, to where it's almost like your fingers are just barely in the shot or just outside of the shot, and that'll block the light from coming in the lens. That's a trick. That's a pro move, man. All right. Other than that, cool shot, and I love the expression. Would have shot at higher aperture and checked the flare. All right, contrails. Sweet, they're coming to kill you. Neat. Neat. I wonder if it would have been nice. You know what it would have been cool? I'm getting really technical on you here, Pete. This would have been cool as a high dynamic range image, because what's missing here is all the detail from this. Sky looks awesome. What if the camera was on a tripod and I do this all the time. Put the camera on a tripod, you expose for your sky, you expose for then another shot. Don't move the camera because it's on a tripod. Then you expose for the what's below, where the sun isn't there, and you combine the two in Photoshop, and it works beautifully. Takes a little bit of technique, but it's great. Good technique. Pinch underexposed. I like this one better. Yeah, this is a. You might have had a little handheld movement. Yeah, this to me, it's a little better shot. You know what? What's really pulling my eye here, Pete, is the twigs right here. I wonder what might have made a more interesting shot with this, because really, when you shoot things like this, again, I'm getting more into the artsy, subjective type thing like this. What you're really looking for more than anything is the texture, the shapes of everything there. So in this particular shot, what I would have done, instead of coming in at an angle like that, if you come straight on that and zoomed right on in, so where all you're doing is you are looking at a whole bunch of logs just like that. And if you do that straight on, that is an interesting shot. Because it's not, and you shoot it with a lot of depth to it just to make sure everything's in focus, probably like an 8.0 or something like that. It's that way, it's not like you're struggling to see, okay, well, what's my subject? Because at that point, it just becomes this interesting image of shapes and colors. Try that if you can. Straight on, wider depth, and just make sure your exposure is right on that. And zoom in. Something like that, or come out a little bit. Just play with it. Just make sure that nothing's in your foreground like this. That's just, it's just pulling my eye. Yeah, same thing. Again, these twigs, these stupid twigs. Come on, man. All right. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Doesn't do anything for me. I'm just, I mean, you got it. Okay, there's a little star, but your other shots are better. Ooh, look at this. You are right. It was a bright sunny day. Okay. Bright sunny day. Here's the thing. 8.0, 10. You shot 10. Yeah, I can tell. Cool. Oh, you shot with the Sigma. Nice. Okay. Again, what made the other shots better, Pete, is your background. Having the contrast of just the purple against the green is what made the other photos to me much more successful. Yeah, this does nothing for me. This light area just pulls away. Okay, so you tried to do something like that. Yeah. Better. Better. It's just almost a little bit too bright. Better. Shut it at 10.0. Okay. You know what? To me, okay. To me, Pete, when you go back to these, that's so much more interesting. Yeah, just the light is more even because it's not just this wicked sunny, contrasty kind of thing. Yeah, yeah, the other ones were better. So, and again, it's just time of day. You're shooting 10.0, 5680, I think was better. 5.6. Um, yeah, moving on. Bam. You're about a half stop overexposed. Just, I'm nitpicking. The yellow just seems a little bit washed out for me, and so if you brought your exposure down just a little bit, the greens would have been a little bit darker and more contrasty against the yellow. Again, look, this is something you can fix in post. Beyond that, it's good. If you could have framed it a little bit tighter, that would have been better, but I get a feeling that especially at 200 millimeter, you might have hit your maximum distance of closeness for this. Here we are with the logs. Okay. Yeah, same thing, just distraction. Look, I think there were better shots when you were doing. I know you wanted to take advantage of the light that was there. Honestly, I think you had better shots with the other ones in the end. So, all subjective in the end. But look, overall, my bow on the top of all of this, Pete, is that yeah, I mean, just with the equipment that with the equipment that you have now, immediately I see your shots are way better there. And look, you if anything, Pete, you're proving you're doing two things. One, thank you for taking on board my advice with doing all this. Hopefully, it's just experience with this, and just do it for doing it. My gosh, I've been doing this too long. I really should be teaching. But the other side of it is having the right tools, having the right equipment, and I can tell just immediately between the Sigma and that Canon lens, fantastic. Yeah, I can't say that a new body is it's not necessarily going to help your pictures improve more in quality, because really what I'm seeing more than anything is whether you had your body or whether you had a $6,000 body or something like that, you get pretty close to the same kind of results in the end. The only advantage of a more expensive body, again, or a newer body, like I said before, which is you'll have a little bit wider dynamic range that helps, but it's not the be all, the end all. And just more bells and whistles to allow the camera to figure out exposure if you're going to shoot that way. And it's more apt to get it right. Yeah, but and then the other big thing too that you'll probably want to get into more than anything is that the pixel resolution will become important if you were to ever kind of blow these things up. If you're just doing like 8x10 blow-ups, or just even a little bit larger, like an A4 kind of poster print, something like that, I'm sure as long as you're like 20, 22, 24 megapixel or something like that, you're in great shape. Even 16, I have a 16 megapixel camera, and they blew that stuff up for 2-page ads and things like that. It's fine. It's just it's always good to have more pixels, because then you can crop and you don't lose your resolution. Keep shooting raw mode. Don't tell me it takes up too much space, because If you start telling me that, I'm going to start talking about video files and how I have 12 hard drives in my computer. So let's not go there. Uh, uh, let's see. Beyond that, keep shooting, keep going, keep doing it. Find some more. Go get inspired. You're getting the idea. Go get inspired more. But yeah, that's all I can say. Have a great day. Good luck.